You could have been anywhere in the YouTube world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. Welcome back to House J Views. And once again, you already know, it's another week. We're covering Monday Night Raw, this time the December 6th edition of Monday Night Raw. And it's looking like a solid card. We have 2 championship matches, a steel cage match, and a tournament match. But yeah, it's a pretty cool card. Let's run it down and let's talk about what went down on this week's installment of Monday Night Raw. So the night starts off with a few promos that we get from our 3 participants for the WWE Championship Triple Threat match that we'll be getting at the Day 1 pay-per-view event on January 1st. Seth Rollins talks about how happy he is of the fact that Kevin Owens and Big E are about to tear each other apart in a steel cage match, and he's going to be ringside to see it all go down. Big E goes on to say that he's all business going into the steel cage match, and he can't wait to get his one-on-one match with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens says that I know that everybody was trying to make me out to be a liar, but I'm going to beat Big E tonight, and I'm also going to become the WWE champion at Day 1, and that you can believe. I guess he tried to reword, Roman Reigns' old little believe that saying, I guess, but whatever. So he pretty much gets some promo packages from the 3 hyping up their match that they're going to have at Day 1. But then the night starts off with a steel cage match between Big E and Kevin Owens, a match that you would think that would be later on in the night actually starts off the night. So I think that was actually a different route for WWE, especially for an episode of Monday Night Raw. So the match was solid. These guys tearing each other apart, a lot of good high spots in the match. At one point, they were about to get out of the cage, but Seth Rollins slammed the cage door on their head. But the match would come down to its end after Big E would hit the big ending on Kevin Owens off the second rope. Very high impact, very crazy spot. The crowd digged it, and I thought he would have went for the 3 after that, but instead he goes to go out of the cage door. Kevin Owens tried to grab his foot, and then Big E would kick his foot away. And then he'll exit the cage door, and the WWE champion Big E wins this match. After the match is said and done, Big E barely has time to celebrate. Seth Rollins pulls up on him and attacks him from behind. Big E fights him off eventually, and then he also goes into the ring to send Kevin Owens off with another big ending. We cut to commercial break, and we come back to all 3 of these guys being laid out. Us at home watching, not knowing what went down, and then they showed that during the commercial break, Bobby Lashley came through and beat up all 3 of them. The former WWE champion making his presence known, and it's interesting that he put his name in the hat. So I wonder if he is making a statement to see, yo, what's up with y'all ignoring me and not, why am I not in the title conversation? And now I wonder if this is going to eventually become a fatal 4-way match now that Bobby Lashley is in the mix. We'll see. After that, we get a quick match between Queen Zelina Vega, now one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions. She's going up against former champion Nikki Ash. They pretty much breeze through this match. They don't give these ladies a lot of time, and the crowd was pretty dead for the match, unfortunately. But Zelina Vega did pull off the win with a cold red. Quick 1, 2, 3. The match was quick. The match was smooth. On to the next. Then we get a backstage segment from Matt Riddle and Randy Orton. Turns out that we are having a tournament to crown the next #1 contenders for Matt Riddle and Randy Orton's Raw Tag Team Championships. This tournament is called the RK-BRO-NAMENT. 4 teams involved. On one side, you have the Street Profits going against the team of AJ Styles and Omas. And on the other side, we have Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio taking on Alpha Academy. This match will come down to its end after Omas would blindly tag himself in while AJ Styles was attempting to go for the phenomenal forearm. This would backfire. The Street Profits would work together to double drop kick Omas to the outside of the ring, and then Omas would go on to fight one of the Street Profits on the outside. But this will end up being a distraction that will lead to Omas being double counted out, and they get eliminated in this tournament, and the Street Profits move on. And once again, we get a little tease of the dissension between the team of AJ Styles and Omas. AJ Styles putting his hand on Omas' shoulder saying, hey, look, man, you gotta listen to me when I communicate with you. You gotta listen to me. But instead, Omas just walked off on AJ. So I want to see what happens with this storyline. If they do have a one-on-one confrontation between AJ Styles and Omas, it's going to be weird to see AJ pretty much do the job, because if you follow the AJ Styles from his career ever since he first started in this business, he's like top tier. It's time that he went back in a singles competition, and hopefully, if he does put Omas over, it's some type of benefit, or we might just get a repeat of when Chris Jericho put over Fandango. You remember when that went down? After that, we get a quick backstage segment. Becky Lynch going over her title defense later on in the night, saying that I understand that the fans are on Liv's side with this match. I understand that she's real over with the crowd, but they just like her because it's all in a chase. They like the fact that she's chasing a belt. Once she gets the belt, no one's gonna care if she does beat me. But for me, it's just another day at the office. It's just another Monday night for Big Time Bex. But Becky just cuts the quick promo just to get a little something cooked up for the main event that we're going to have later on in the night. Next, we get a segment with the United States Champion Damian Priest. We get a United States Championship Open Challenge. Damian Priest comes out and he says, hey, whoever wants to step up, I'll defend the United States Championship right here and right now. The challenge is answered by Robert Roode. Dolph Ziggler's by his side. He comes out, accepts the challenge. Pretty even match, but pretty smooth, pretty quick. Damian Priest hits him with the Reckoning, and it's just a clean defense, clean title defense for Damian Priest. 1, 2, 3. He's still the United States Champion. After the match, Dolph Ziggler does super kick Damian Priest, and it looked like it's a setup for Dolph to get his shot at the United States Championship, possibly next week. Next, we get the match between Bianca Belair and Dewdrop. These two have been going back and forth for weeks and weeks now. Different segments, tag team matches, getting in each other's business, and we finally get a one-on-one match. Now, when Dewdrop first came through, she was the baby face with the whole spirit fingers gimmick, and it didn't really get her over. But now that she's like the big tough heel, it looked like that she's gonna have a lot to do with this feud. And for some reason, it's almost like she's fighting like Nia Jax. I don't know if it's me, but since Nia Jax been released, did they pretty much take Dewdrop and put Dewdrop in the Nia Jax, big bad heel slot for Raw's women's division? I don't know, but that's what it seems like to me. But we get the match, and I thought we were going to get one of the biggest wrestling moments that we got in a minute when it comes to this. Something reminiscent to when Hulk Hogan slammed Andre the Giant. We thought that we were going to get Bianca Belair hitting the KOD, which would have been more impressive in my opinion if she would hit the KOD on Dewdrop. But Dewdrop rolled out of the ring. She walks out on the match, and she gets counted out. She tells Bianca to pretty much kiss her ass, and she just walks out on the match. Of course, this is a setup for them to have a future match. More than likely, it's going to culminate at day one. But it's nice to push this story forward, and let's see what they do going forward with this rivalry. Then we get an in-ring segment between The Miz and Edge. This is the talk show segment, Miz TV, and both of these guys have, their own talk shows. Throughout their career, they've had in-ring segments hidden within their own talk shows. The Miz has Miz TV, and Edge has the Cutting Edge. I thought that we were going to get a setup for the Cutting Edge possibly next week. It might happen in the future going towards their match, but this segment in the ring did set up a match for them to have at day one. We are going to get The Miz versus Edge. They're pretty much going back and forth, saying that when The Miz first came through, The Miz was saying, hey, you guys really didn't treat me right. I got kicked out the locker room, and I was looking for, someone to be by my side, a locker room leader. I got treated real bad. And Edge was like, yo, we pretty much treated you like that because you was an asshole then, you an asshole now, this and that and the third. But it's going to be a safe setup for Edge to get in the ring with The Miz. The Miz is a very safe worker. He rarely gets injured, even though this year was the first time he ever got injured in his entire career. But The Miz is still a very safe worker. And for the matches that they've been lining Edge up with, but we're people who are, vets, seasoned vets, people who are safe. So we get this match with Edge and The Miz, day one, January 1st. And let's see what goes down with that. Next, we get the other half of the RK-BRO-NAMENT. We have the Mysterio family, Rey and Dominic, taking on I almost said American Alpha again. Alpha Academy. I don't know if Rey was injured or anything behind the scenes, but he didn't get involved in this match at all. Dominic pretty much had his time to shine during this match after rolling up Chad Gable, hitting the 1, 2, 3. These guys move forward in this silly little RK-BRO-NAMENT. Of course, after the match, Matt Riddle will try to get a post-match interview with Alpha Academy, but it didn't turn out the way that he wanted. Otis would, pretty much pick up Matt Riddle, slam him on his ass, and that's what you get for his troubles. Randy Orton be trying to tell Matt Riddle to stop playing so damn much, you won't get your ass kicked, but He always ended up, you know, in some meddling situation, that guy, Matt Riddle. And it looks like we're going to get a match between the Street Profits and Rey and Dominic Mysterio. The winner out of those two teams are eventually going to get a shot at the Raw Tag Team Championships. We get a backstage segment next with Mr. McMahon, Austin Theory. They're still going through their whole weird old boss, young prospect thing. He made Austin Theory do jumping jacks. I don't know. It's a weird segment. I don't know what they're going to do with these two. It's just still weird to see Vince McMahon on television again with him being this damn old. But afterwards, we get a match between Finn Balor and TBar. Vince McMahon did say for Austin Theory to make a statement. And after Finn Balor would pick up the win against TBar, Austin Theory would attack Finn Balor and, you know, do his little selfie pose thingamajig with his phone. So it looks like we're going to get a match between Austin Theory and Finn Balor. And it looks like it's going to be a cool match. You know, Austin Theory is an okay talent. You know, I haven't seen too many of his matches, but I am a huge fan of Finn's. So let's see what they do with them in the future. Now we get the main events of the night. Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, one-on-one for the Raw Women's Championship. Trish Stratus and Lita, they main evented Raw 17 years ago for the Raw Women's Championship. Something like that of its kind was the first to go down. A lot of times back in the day, the women's wrestlers didn't really get the main event spot, let alone the Women's Championship getting the main event spot. It was a dope match. Of course, you know, if you go back in history and look back, Lita did kind of mess her neck up during that match, but she did win that match. And the way that they told that story earlier in the night, and then giving Liv Morgan this hype package saying that, you know, she came a long way to get this title opportunity, you would have thought, the way that they booked it and the way that they hyped it up, you would have thought that Liv Morgan, that this was going to be the night that Liv Morgan would win and become the Raw Women's Champion, but it did not go down that way. After an awesome match, after a crazy back and forth, possibly Liv Morgan's best match to date. I could quote that and say that this has been Liv Morgan's best match so far. She got the Rings of Saturn in her moveset. She has a good moveset going for the crowd by her side. It looks like that she has that on the rise babyface storyline going for her. And it's pretty dope that she has that. Unfortunately, this just wasn't her night. The night would come down to an end as Becky Lynch would attempt to hit the manhandle slam. Liv Morgan would reverse that into a roll-up pin. After a 2 count, Becky would reverse that into a roll-up pin. She would grab the rope in the same way that she got her win over Charlotte. 1, 2, 3. Becky Lynch cheats to retain the Raw Women's Championship. Yeah, you know, driving the fact home that she is a heel. And, you know, after having that long drawn-out match, it was just such a, you know, a blow to the gut. You just one of those kind of endings like that. Yo, they really hyped us up to end the match like that. But at the same time, come on, it's WWE. We've seen this before. We've been here before. So it's nothing crazy. We get a shot in the crowd of this girl that looked so mad at the result. This little girl, she was so pissed off. Very reminiscent of when The Miz won the WWE Championship a decade ago. It was just very fun. Liv had an awesome showing. If this match wasn't the match that she was going to win the belt, this was the match that made her a star. And I felt like that this was the match that made her look like she was meant to be in the main event title picture. So we definitely gonna get a rematch, probably gonna be at day 1. Who knows if Becky Lynch is gonna retain or if they're gonna eventually put the belt on Liv Morgan. But this is the match that made Liv Morgan a star. I got vibes off of, you know, similar to when Seth Rollins had that triple threat match with John Cena and Brock Lesnar years ago. That's the match that pretty much made him a main event star. This is the match that made Liv Morgan a star, hands down, in my opinion at least. So that was this episode of Monday Night Raw. Pretty smooth review, pretty quick review. Nothing really went down. Similar to last week, just pushing storylines forward. We have a few weeks leading up to this day 1 pay-per-view, so let's see what Raw has in store for us. I promise I'll get to y'all with a SmackDown review. Judging off the past month, you would have thought that I ain't like SmackDown at all because I haven't reviewed SmackDown in a minute. But I'll get to y'all with that SmackDown review, I promise y'all. But in the meantime, man, thank you for coming through the House Zay Views once again. Take the time out. Like, share, subscribe. Comment in the comments section. Turn them notifications on. Engage, baby. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all week. Until next time, peace.